So I was doing the Wordle the other day. This is something that Lindsay and I have kind of made a ritual of where we call it playing our games. We usually start with, New York Times connections. And when we finish that, type in Wordle. And then usually I'm there first. So I say to her, what's the word of the day, Wordbird? And that's her cue to come up with the first word for the Wordle, which is part of a ritual. And then we go back and forth from there. We've been doing this for well over a year now. So hundreds and hundreds of Wordles and connections. And on this particular day, Lindsay said shake was the word of the day. But while I was waiting for her to give me the word, I think I said, what's the word of the day, Wordbird? And then I was waiting, and maybe she was still loading. So I did something goofy. I think I went like squawk to make a Wordbird sound. And on this particular day, not on any other day of the hundreds and hundreds of times that we've played Wordle, Lindsay said, why do you call me Wordbird anyway? And I thought that she knew this reference all along. I thought that's why she never questioned it. I thought she must get it. Now, this is going to be a bit Canadian here, but there was a show when I was a kid, and I believe it was just a Canadian show, sort of like a Mr. Rogers for, the U.S. audience or whatever, but it was children's television. And it was a gentleman by the name of Fred Penner, I believe. Fred Penner? I think it's Penner. Now, I only remember bits and pieces of the show, but I remember he had like a hiker's backpack. Maybe that was just in the intro. He was like hiking into the woods, and I think he put something in a log or took it out of a log, or maybe that was a guitar he put on the log, and it was a children's show in Canada. I don't know. Maybe some people there's like, I remember that. But one of the segments he did was like a word of the day sort of segment. And he had this puppet animated bird thing that I remember it being kind of terrible looking, but that was the Wordbird. And he'd be like, oh, you hear that? Squawk. That's the Wordbird. What's the word, Wordbird? This little puppet bird thing would have a little card in its mouth, and they'd be like, oh, what's the word today? Oh, thumb. Thanks, Wordbird. Thumb. T-H, whatever. And then they would turn it into a learning moment of teaching kids how to say thumb. So Lindsay was like, yeah, no, I never heard of that. And I was like, so for over a year, you even let me call you Wordbird? You don't even know the reference? Weird. Anyway, so then we're sitting there on the couch. So I grab the remote, pull up YouTube. I said, I'm going to find you a clip of this. It's got to be on YouTube, right? Hold the push to talk button, and I say, Fred Penner, Wordbird. Search comes up. Click on the very first one because it kind of looks like, I think that looks like the Wordbird thing. Click on it. It loads up this grainy, looks like old VHS recording of Fred Penner. Sure enough, there's the Wordbird. Wordbird's got a card. What's the word of the day?
Thanks, buddy. Oh, see what the word is today? S-H-A-K-E. Spells shake. That's right, pal.
I look at my phone. I realize the word that we typed in was shake. I look at Lindsay. She's looking at her phone. I can tell by her face that she's just realizing now that the word was shake that she wrote in when she provided the word. We look at each other, and we're both just like, what the hell just happened? Of all the days, Lindsay's giving me probably a different word every single time. Normally it's whatever she comes up in the day. Maybe she just ate berries. She'd be like, berry, whatever it is. But for some reason, she came up with shake that day. Of all the days that we've been doing this Wordle, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, of all the possible Wordbird jokes, that day was the day that she said, what's the Wordbird? And then I use YouTube to just pull up a random Wordbird clip of all the episodes of Fred Penner that ever existed, where I'm sure the Wordbird had a different word each time. Of all the YouTube videos that were possible to be, given to me, or based on maybe what I said into the remote, the one that I clicked on, the clip that came up on that exact day at that exact time, the Wordbird from Fred Penner provided shake, just like my Wordbird provided shake. I mean, this is the point where somebody goes, this is proof we're living in a simulation. Of all of a magnitude of coincidences, that's got to be one of the biggest, craziest coincidences I've ever experienced in my life. And it just felt so oddly surreal, like creepy where like something crawls up your spine, where you're like, you're looking at your phone and you realize you typed in shake. There's no way to like deny it either. You're looking at the word shake in your phone. The Wordbird is on the TV right there and it says shake. And you're just like having a moment where you're like, is this real? Is this real life? Did this really just happen?
That's right, pal.
There's no point to the story. I just wanted to tell somebody because it's crazy. And I thought if I tell the internet, somebody probably can appreciate Fred Penner. Probably someone knows the Wordbird. You probably got your own crazy coincidental story that you can share in the comments if you want. But that's weird, right? That's a weird one. Okay. All right. I'm done.